Hey guys, welcome back. It is time for another reaction video. Today we'll be checking out traditional English food and what to eat in England. This is coming from Walter's World. I've reacted to a handful of his videos in the past. If you'd like to check out his channel, you can use the link in the description below to go check out this video and other videos from Walter's World. Before we jump into this video, if you have not seen some of my more recent videos, I've mentioned that I launched a new YouTube channel with my brothers called Houston Food Fanatics, where we visit food places and try new foods and do reviews on the restaurants. So we've only got a couple of videos out as of the time of recording this, but we'd still appreciate you heading over there and subscribing and checking out the videos. You can find the channel by just looking up Houston Food Fanatics or navigate down on my YouTube channel to the featured channel section and you'll find it there. Let's get into the video.
Hello there, fellow hungry travelers. Mark here with Walter's World, and today we are in London, England, and we're having a good time and actually eating some good food. Who knew it was possible? And so what I'm going to talk to you today about is
England always gets flack for not having good food. I know they have some good stuff just based on some videos I've seen, but in general, they always kind of catch flack for not having a very good food. Not hating.
what you should eat when you do come to England, because there actually are some good foods here. I know I've made fun of English food in a lot of my videos, and a lot of travelers will say how bad the food can be, and believe me, there's bad food here, but there's also some good foods. So we're going to go through the foods you should have when you're here, and let's start with breakfast. Obviously, the big thing you want to have when you are here is you want to have a full English breakfast. Now, what does that entail? Well, you got a couple fried eggs. You've got, yes, baked beans. You got fried tomatoes, cooked tomatoes, maybe fried mushrooms. You're going to have a big banger sausage. You also have some English bacon. And then, of course, you have toast and maybe some hash brown on the side. And you finish it off with some tea. That is your traditional English breakfast. That's what you're going for. And if you're going to stay in a B&B throughout England, they're going to give it to you. Don't worry. It is one of the quintessential things here. If you're staying at more of a kind of an intercontinental hotel, something like that, that has the breakfast buffet, they'll have variations of that you can do. But maybe go out to a breakfast place here in England and have your English breakfast. You'll see it on the menus all over the place. Make sure you do have that.
Any of my Houston viewers that are watching, do you know of a place in Houston that does a good English breakfast? I'd love to go try as close as I can to an English breakfast without traveling all the way to England. Let me know in the comments.
Now, if you're looking at to have things during the day, some of the foods you want to have, and when you're going to go out to eat, there's tons of restaurants here, but what I recommend is going to the pub, because the pub is really a part of English culture, and a lot of them will have food. Now, the thing is, you got to look and see, because not every pub will serve food throughout the day. Some maybe only have it for lunch and then dinner later in the day. So make sure you check and ask, and a lot will say, oh, we have a full menu all day long, okay? Now, some of the food you want to have when you are here, obviously there's traditional fish and chips, you know, fried big old fish and French fries with mushy peas. That is a traditional dish here. Now, if you get a chance, go get it from a chippy. That is a takeaway store that literally just sells fish and chips. But if you can't find one because you're in a tourist area and they're mostly not there, they're more farther out, what you want to do is just get it at the local pub. It won't be as good, but it'll still be good enough and you'll enjoy that. Another English dish you should have, bangers and mash. These are English sausages.
Now this one actually looks pretty good. I wouldn't mind trying this one.
And mashed potatoes. So bangers are sausages. They were bangers because they used to have watermen. They explode if they got cooked too much. So bangers and mash, that's another traditional dish you can get. Another thing you have, shepherd's.
It's interesting that that's where the name came from, because I've always wondered why they were called bangers. So they used to hold water and explode.
Pie, which is kind of minced meat and kind of I guess a gravy and some vegetables in it, and then they have mashed potatoes on top. That's always a good choice. Other things you might want to have when you're here are the pies. That is my favorite. The pies are what kind of changed me from not liking to eat in England to loving eating in England.
Okay.
And the pies, steak and kidney pie is the most popular one. Now what it is sometimes it'll be steak and kidney kind of stew, and then they'll have a puff pastry over top, or sometimes, yes, it is kind of like back in America where you have your Stouffer's pot pie or those kind of things. They do have those, and it's fantastic. And it could.
Is steak and kidney kind of the common thing, or can you get it without the kidney? Because isn't kidney kind of like very rich, kind of unique flavor, not always, and kind of gamey? Can you get it with just steak? Let me know in the comments.
Could be steak and kidney pie or a pork pie or chicken pie with mushrooms and all kinds of stuff, but you will have those. That's another option that's worth having. Now, if you're looking for something a bit fancier, what you might see is on Sundays in the pubs and other places, they'll have a Sunday roast, which is a roast with Yorkshire pudding. And Yorkshire pudding, I guess it's kind of like if you've ever had a popover, it's like a filled out popover. It is really tasty, and of course the roast is always good, and it can be beef and other meats as well, but that is a really popular thing on Sundays, kind of a Sunday tradition. Another really fancy thing is beef Wellington, which is a medallion of beef, and then they put like a pate around it, and then of course puff pastry. You see a theme with this puff pastry stuff around there, and then they cook it. It is fantastic, but it is a little pricey when you do have it, but it is worth every single pound. And then if you look at some other British staples you want to have, you might look at, steak is very popular here. The beef in England is very good. Also, what you might be looking at is having jacket potatoes or baked potatoes. And what they'll do is, instead of like in the US where you have your baked potato and you got like sour cream and butter, here they'll deck it out with bacon and all kinds of other stuff, which is fantastic, and it's a meal in of itself.
I do love baked potatoes, so that sounds pretty yummy.
Okay, so you'll be fine with any of the steaks or jacket potatoes, baked potatoes, they're good too. But what about some of the sweets you might want to have when you're here? One thing I gotta tell you, first things first, the chocolates here in England are awesome. Get your Cadbury chocolate here, because the Cadbury you get in the US, that ain't the real deal.
Okay.
The stuff here, I don't know, maybe it's the milk or how they produce it. It's so much richer here. It's so much fuller flavored and extra, children jumping around on the walls inducing sugariness, but not with a lot of sugar. I don't know. It is just...
Chocolate's one of my favorite candies, so I would love to try some chocolates from there.
Really one of those things you have to have when you are here. So if you're going by the shop, go grab a bar of Cadbury and, or two or three.
I'm just noticing in the back that there's like stadium style seating back in the background. Where is he at? Like, what is this place? Is there something usually held out on these grounds where he's standing? And I see a Ferris wheel back there too. What is that giant building structure behind him? And what are those stadium style seats there all the time, or is this just an installation of some sort for a special event?
Three, or like I did, buy a box for the kids, or that you might share with them or might not share with them, who knows. There's that there. Other sweets you might have, they have a lot of puddings that are popular. One thing I would say, if you're looking for like an apple pie kind of thing, there's apple crumble that's really good. And one of the things is you'll have a lot of pastries you can have here, and a lot of pastries you'll have at tea time. And high tea is at 4 o'clock. And high tea isn't just tea, okay? You'll have scones, and you'll have scones with clotted cream and jam, and you'll have crumpets. If you're not sure what a crumpet is, in the US we call it English muffin. They just chop the top off. That's a crumpet. You'll have that. Little tea sandwich.
I do like an English muffin. Why didn't we just call it a crumpet too? Why did we call it an English muffin?
We call it English muffin. They just chop the top off. That's a crumpet. You'll have that. Little tea sandwiches, little finger sandwiches, those kind of things like that. And it is kind of a really cool experience to go have tea. I mean, the first time I went and had tea, I was like 21, and I was like, oh, dude, I want to be going to the pub and having some pints. But it was a really cool experience. We were in New York, and there's a street where the buildings are almost touching each other at the top, and it was a really cool experience to have it. So make sure you do have tea time when you are here in England, because it is an experience, and you will enjoy the cakes and the crumpets and the scones and the clotted cream. And okay, you see how I'm talking, how the food can be good here? You're starting to get hungry, aren't you? And now let's look at what you're going to drink when you're here. Tap water you can drink, but it tastes pretty gross, so go with bottled water. The drink here of choice is obviously tea. It's England, you have tea. But for my Starbucks people that have to have their coffees, they've got that too. But here, tea is the drink you have in the morning or in the afternoon, or when you want to calm your nerves or up your nerves or anything like that. And if you're going out to the pub, you're going to have a pint of beer. And they have their ales, they have their porters. And the thing is, you'll get beer from all over. But one of the things is you'll get the ales from England, and they like pump it out. It's not like in the US where you just click it and the pressure pushes it through. They're like pumping it through the system kind of thing, which is pretty cool. Is the beer ice cold? No, it's not ice cold beer, but it's like a little bit cooler than room temperature, so that's nice.
I can't drink warm beer. Not gonna happen. It needs to be cold, and if it's not cold, then I don't want it. Maybe that's the American in me that's spoiled to having all of my drinks cold, but especially beer. Beer just, When beer gets warm, to me, I just can't do it. Let me know in the comments if you have similar feelings towards hot beer, warm beer.
And there are some good ones. I've never been a huge fan of the ales and the porters, but for some reason the last couple of years I've been trying more and more of them, and they really do grow on you. So make sure you switch it up if you're doing your pub crawl. Try a different beer every time you go someplace, because it gives you a chance to try a different ale or a different porter or stuff like that, or an extra stout beer, and it is kind of a cool thing. Other things you might want to know when you are here, if you ask for lemonade here, you're going to get kind of like a Sprite kind of drink. And the thing is, you can get all the internet.
Actually, I think I heard about that in another video, that lemonade in England is carbonated, and versus ours is more just like a juice style. No, there's no carbonation, no fizzy.
National beverages you want here. So if you want your sodas or your beers or whatever, it's not a problem. But tea and ales and porters, that's kind of the big thing when you are here. And bottled water, take my word for it. Another thing you should know is when you go out to restaurants here, you do tip about 10% on a bill if they're bringing it to your seat. If they're not bringing it to your seat, it's not as, you don't really have to tip. You know, like you go to a Chippy and stuff like that, there's no tipping. They might have a bucket up front, you can leave some money there. When you go to a pub, tipping, you don't really have to tip when you buy a drink, and if you're doing a pub crawl, you're going 1-to-1. You can tip, but you don't have to. You're not really expecting it at the pub, but if you do, you can. No one's going to say no to money. Anyway, I hope this helped you know of a few of the foods you should try when you do come here to England. There are some good things out here, and the thing is, there's the English food, but remember, this is an international country, so you can get great food from all over the world. There's great Indian food, there's great Chinese food, there's great all kinds of food here, so don't limit yourself just to the pub. Get out and explore more, but I've given you kind of the English pub version of what to eat when you are here in England. Anyway, have a great time traveling, have a great time eating, and I guess it's time for me to timey-wimey out of here. Bye from London.
Something I want to try if I ever get to visit England is chicken tikka masala. I've had it a couple times here in the States. I don't know how it would compare to the one in England, given that that's their official dish. But I definitely want to try that. If you want to see more from Walter's World, like I said, there'll be a link in the description below. You can go check out his channel. If you like my video, please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, comment, share, do all the things, and I will see you guys in the next video. Later.